Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. And what about the slide? Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So on the last turn itself, I told you that today we will be starting with the estimation of alkalinity. In fact, this is also the experimental procedure that you have to learn for your practical class. I think it is experiment number 2 and 3, which will be based on alkalinity in your practical course. So how do we estimate alkalinity of any water sample? This is done with the help of volumetric titration. Now, if I ask you which type of volumetric titration will be involved, the answer can be really easy. See, you know the sample of water is alkaline. Alkaline means basic. So if the water sample is basic in nature, you should be titrating it against what? Which reagent? The most common reaction? Yes.
Madam, I'm getting some glitches in your voice, madam.
What about
Like-
the others? Is it cracking for everyone?
No, ma'am.
No. Then I think it is error in your connectivity. Who was this who was speaking? You can
Okay,
what you can do, you can disconnect and reconnect
Rejoin.
again.
Okay.
Disconnect and reconnect again. That can help.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so I was asking you, you should be titrating it against what? The most common reaction given by bases.
Acid-base reaction, ma'am.
Yes, the acid-base neutralization reaction. So the type of titration that is involved in this method, it is the acid-base titration, and this titration will be carried out using two acid-base indicators. Now, this is a peculiar feature about this experiment, that it involves the use of two acid-base indicators. One is the phenolphthalein indicator, and the other is the methyl orange indicator. And this I will tell you why I'll be using two indicators in the following discussion. But before that, tell me the colors of these two indicators in two different media. What about phenolphthalein? What is its color in basic medium? Color of phenolphthalein in basic medium?
Pink.
Pink. Yes, pink is the color.
Pink.
Give the answer confidently. And what about its color in acidic medium?
Colorless.
Colorless. Yes, that is absolutely right. And what about methyl orange? Color in basic medium? Yellow is the color. Yellow is the color. And in acidic medium?
Red.
Nothing. No
Red.
change.
Red or pinkish red. In dilute conditions, that color shows as pink or pinkish red, you can say. So the principle involves the neutralization of the three ions responsible for alkalinity, that is hydroxide, carbonate, and bicarbonate ions. They will be neutralized by a standard acid. Standard means you will be knowing the strength or the concentration of that acid. And this will be done with the help of two acid-base indicators. Phenolphthalein endpoint lies near a pH of around 8.3, whereas the methyl orange endpoint lies near a pH of around 4.3, which are quite different, and very easily they can be observed distinctly in any experiment because the pH values lie quite far away from each other. And one very important information which is written here in the principle, but this I will show you with the help of the three reactions that you learned on the last turn. Is slide number 2 visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I made you write these three reactions on the last turn. Yes. That the neutralization of hydroxide is a one-step process and hydroxide ions get converted into water. Neutralization of carbonate, I told you, is a two-step reaction. In the first step, carbonate ions are converted into bicarbonate ions, and in the second step, bicarbonate ions take up same amount of the acid which is used in the first step. If it is H plus here, it is H plus here as well. Same amount of acid is used, and finally the bicarbonate ions formed in the reaction, they get converted into H2O and CO2. And the third reaction was when the bicarbonate ions initially present in the water sample, they are converted into water and carbon dioxide. Now the principle says that the phenolphthalein indicator can mark or indicate the completion of the first two reactions only. That is the complete neutralization of hydroxide ions and the half neutralization of carbonate ions. So phenolphthalein can indicate or mark the completion of these two reactions only. Whereas if you talk about the methyl orange endpoint, then it can indicate the completion of all the three reactions together. The first, second, and third reaction taking place together, all the three. When they are complete, methyl orange endpoint will be observed. This is what was displayed on the previous slide. It said that phenolphthalein endpoint indicates the completion or the complete neutralization of hydroxide ions and half of carbonate ions, whereas the methyl orange endpoint, it indicates the neutralization of total alkalinity due to hydroxide, carbonate, and bicarbonate ions. So is the principle clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And now this is information, not in fact the concept. This is information that you need to keep in mind. This forms the principle of the method. And this information or these three reactions can be translated into these two equations that you can see on the slide right now. In fact, you can say that they also form a part of the principle because these two equations will help you to understand the discussion that will follow in the coming slides. Can you correlate how these three reactions have been converted into these two equations? See, we said that the methyl orange point, the methyl orange endpoint corresponds to the completion of the three reactions. That means it can give you the total alkalinity, that is the sum of the strength of the hydroxide ions, carbonate ions, and bicarbonate ions. Strength, or you can say concentration. This is easy to understand, but how have we said that the phenolphthalein endpoint corresponds to total hydroxide ion concentration? That is fine, but half carbonate concentration. Half neutralization of carbonate converts to half concentration of carbonate. Can you correlate this in your mind? Anyone? How this has been displayed over here?
No, ma'am.
If not, yes. Because of that only I have introduced the next slide. Let us try to understand how that half carbonate concentration factor has been used in the first equation. So for that, we will have to apply the law of chemical equivalence. In fact, that forms the principle or that forms the basis of volumetric titrations. So suppose for complete, we are focusing on carbonate only right now. So suppose for complete neutralization of carbonate ions, that will be indicated by methyl orange endpoint. Say this is the equation that holds complete neutralization. N1V1 is equals to N2V2, where N1 is the normality of carbonate ions, V1 is the volume of water sample. So you have the gram equivalents of alkaline water sample on the left hand side, and N2 is the normality of acid and V2 is the total volume of acid used. So these are the gram equivalents of the standard acid that you will take. V2 is going to be your burette reading. In fact, acid is filled in the burette. I will discuss this in the experimental procedure. V2 is the volume of acid used. Acid used for the neutralization. This will be given by the burette reading. Now, if this is the case, come to the phenolphthalein endpoint now. So up to phenolphthalein endpoint, what will happen? Only half the neutralization of carbonate would have taken place. That is neutralization of carbonate up to bicarbonate step only. Now tell me, if that is the case, what volume of acid will be used? If for total neutralization you required V2 ml, then for the first step only, what volume of acid will be required? You can go back and look at the equations. These are balanced equations. The concentration of acid is same for both the steps. So what about the volume? If total volume required is V2, how much volume will
half
be
the
required?
volume.
Half the volume. Yes, that is absolutely right. So that is why we have shown V2 by 2 over here. Now, what is our objective? We want to find out the concentration of carbonate ions up to phenolphthalein endpoint, so that it can be placed in the first equation. So how can we find out the normality of carbonate ions up to phenolphthalein endpoint? Again, apply the law of chemical equivalence, and this normality of carbonate ions can be given by normality of acid into volume of acid upon volume of water sample. Now, standard acid has been used, so this normality will remain fixed as above, N2. Volume of acid, this we have said it is going to be half of the above, so V2 by 2. And volume of water sample, the water sample is taken with the help of a pipette. You pipette out a specific volume, so that remains the same in a general experimental procedure. The volume of water sample remains same for both the steps, phenolphthalein endpoint and for the methyl orange endpoint. So again, it is going to be V1 as it was used above. So now compare this equation with the equation above. Will you get it as N1 by 2?
Yes.
Yes. Just compare the two equations on the slide. So yes, so you have got it as the normality of carbonate ions is N1 by 2. The total normality was N1 up to phenolphthalein, it is coming out to be N1 by 2. That is why in this equation, the first one, we wrote half carbonate ion concentration. Now is it clear to everyone why this half factor has been introduced over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we can move forward with the discussion. Coming to the experimental procedure, slide number 4 visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this, in fact, I just told you right now that what is done, you pipette out a specific volume of the water sample into a clean conical or titration flask. Say that volume is 100 ml. I'm using numbers just to make the calculation easier for you. Then to this, what is done? You add few drops of phenolphthalein indicator. The indicators are added sequentially, one after the other, not together. So first of all, you will be adding phenolphthalein. In general, a sample of water is alkaline and its pH is around 10 to 11 in general, 10 to 11. So which pH, endpoint pH value will you reach first? I showed you the two pH values of the two indicators. For phenolphthalein, the endpoint lies somewhere around 8.3, and for methyl orange, it lies around 4.3. So if you are starting from 11 pH and adding acid, which pH will you come across first? 8.3, that is a phenolphthalein. So that is why phenolphthalein is being added first. So you will get a pink color. At that point, you will now run in the acid filled in the burette. Standard acid, that means the concentration is known. It is N by 50 H2SO4, suppose. So you go on adding acid from the burette into the conical flask until you see a colorless solution. The color is just discharged. So as soon as the color changes from pink to colorless, you stop the cork of the burette and you note down the endpoint, phenolphthalein endpoint. So say volume of acid used up to phenolphthalein endpoint is V1 ml. So we are calling that volume V1 ml. Then at that point, what is done? To the same solution, few drops of methyl orange are added. You will see in general a yellow color. You will go on now adding acid from the burette into the conical flask from the same value, from V1. Means you will not make up the acid mark to 0 again. You will continue from that very point, and the extra volume of acid that will be added after V1 to get the methyl orange endpoint means when you will see the color transition from yellow to reddish pink again. That is, the pink color will reappear. At phenolphthalein endpoint, the pink color disappears. At methyl orange endpoint, the pink or reddish color reappears. So the extra volume of acid that you will add after V1, say that is V2 ml to reach methyl orange endpoint. So if I ask you what is the total volume of acid that has been consumed up to the methyl orange endpoint, what is going to be the total volume? Phenolphthalein endpoint was V1. Extra volume that you added after that is V2. So what is the total volume?
V1 plus V2.
V1 plus V2.
V2. Yes. So this much is clear to everyone about the experimental procedure. How will you do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now let
Yes,
us
ma'am.
come to the calculation part. And for the calculation part, we need to employ the law of chemical equivalence. And that will be done one by one for both the endpoints. Initially, we do it for phenolphthalein endpoint. So according to law of chemical equivalence, again, we are applying the formula, say N1 V1 is equals to N1 dash V1 dash. I have just changed the symbols this time. Now, if N1 V1 is the gram equivalents of acid and N1 dash and V1 dash are the gram equivalents of alkaline water sample, then look at the meaning of the symbols. N1 is the normality of acid, which is fixed. I said it is N by 50. What is V1? That I showed you on the last slide. V1 is the burette reading. Burette reading up to phenolphthalein endpoint. What about V1 dash? V1 dash is the volume of water sample. This you will pipette out, the water sample. So again, I showed you on the last slide, say this volume is 100 ml, V1 dash. And N1 dash is the normality of water up to phenolphthalein endpoint, which we are interested in finding out. We want to know what is the concentration of the alkaline water sample. This is what we are interested in. So since we are interested in finding out N1 dash, we will make N1 dash the subject of the formula. Is it clear up till here? After that, we will substitute the known values. N1 is N by 50. So N by 50, 1 by 50, N. V1 is the burette reading up to phenolphthalein endpoint, or you can say the phenolphthalein endpoint, and V1 dash, volume of sample pipetted out, so it is 100 ml. So this is the normality of the water sample in terms of the burette reading or the phenolphthalein endpoint. Clear? Now, if you know the normality, how can you convert it into strength? Or in fact, I can ask you, what is the relationship between normality and strength? Think about the formula of normality and you will be able to make it out. What is the relationship between normality and strength of any solution?
Madam, normality is equal to strength of an acid by equivalence weight, madam, equivalent weight.
Come again. What did you say?
Normality of a
Ma'am, strength is equal to normality into equivalent weight.
Yes. Yes. Is this what you were saying? Yes, that is right. You multiply the normality by the equivalent mass of the solute. So you get the strength of the solution. Because normality is given by W upon E into V, and V has to be in liters. You remember the formula? So W, that is the mass of solute upon volume of the solution. That is the strength. So normality is strength upon equivalent mass, or you can say strength is equals to normality into equivalent mass. So this relationship has been used. If you are interested, in fact, this is how the results are expressed. You do not write the normality. You express the result in terms of strength. So if you wish to write down the strength of alkalinity up to phenolphthalein endpoint, for that what you will do, you will multiply the normality into equivalent mass. This is the formula or the relationship between the two. Now, I told you on the last turn, what is the unit in which alkalinity is generally expressed? What is the unit? ppm of calcium carbonate equivalents. This I told you. I'm yet to discuss what this unit is. This I will explain in the next class. So ppm I told you. In fact, write down one more information. That is 1 ppm is equals to 1 milligram per liter. Numerically, these two units are the same. 1 ppm is equal to 1 milligram per liter. They are the same. So if you are expressing the strength in milligram per liter of calcium carbonate equivalents, expressing it in calcium carbonate equivalents is a convention. Always you do that. And that is why, since you are expressing it in calcium carbonate equivalents, in place of equivalent mass, it is going to be the equivalent mass of calcium carbonate. How much is that? Equivalent mass of calcium carbonate.
It's 50, ma'am.
50. So every
50,
time, in
100
fact, in all the calculations, you will be using this as 50 because the unit used or the results in which it is being expressed, it is milligram per liter of calcium carbonate.
एक बार देख लीजिए तो ठीक है मम्मा जियो वाले पे भेज दी हैं बाकी
Please
सब
switch off your mics. Switch off your mics. You're interfering in the class. And why do you think this 1000 factor has been introduced over here? Multiplication by 1000.
Ma'am, to change gram into milligram.
Yes, that is absolutely
Yes, ma'am.
right. Because we are expressing the result in milligrams per liter. So you will see that multiplication by 50,000 will always be there in all the calculations. Multiplication by 50. And what has been done in the next step? We are calling the strength up to phenolphthalein endpoint as capital P. And you will substitute the value of N1 dash from above. So you will substitute, and when you will solve, you will get P is equals to 10V1. So this equation is just telling you that there is a direct relationship between burette reading and the strength. Direct relationship. This number 10 can change because this is depending on the normality of the acid and the volume of water sample taken. If these two values are changed, this number 10 can change. And that is why you will not remember this as a formula. But in all the calculations, you will start from the law of chemical equivalence. Is that clear? Always start from the law of chemical equivalence.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but yes, this is at least telling you that there is a direct relationship between the Biuret reading and the strength of alkalinity up to phenolphthalein endpoint. And when you will apply the same procedure to the strength up to methyl orange endpoint, you will see that the only difference that will occur is going to be here in the volume. Here it was the volume, the Biuret reading. And if this is the volume consumed up to phenolphthalein endpoint, what is the volume that is consumed up to methyl orange endpoint?
V1 plus V2.
V1 plus V2, yes. So that is why you will get capital M as equals to 10 multiplied by V1 plus V2. Clear?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes. So with these calculations now, what conclusions can be drawn? What results can you get and what conclusions can be drawn from them? So is table number 6, slide number 6 visible along with the table?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So on the basis of the experimental results, what conclusion can you draw? What conclusion can you draw? In fact, this is also telling you why two indicators have been used in the process. Two indicators have been used because methyl orange can give you the total alkalinity of the water sample. But it cannot tell you alone which type of alkalinity is present in the water sample and what is the concentration of the individual ions. If you wish to find out which type is present, then you require phenolphthalein indicator as well. Okay, so two indicators are being used so that you can find out which type of alkalinity is present in the water sample and what is the concentration of the individual ions. And we will see how the phenolphthalein endpoint helps in that. Now coming to the various conditions that you can get as experimental results. Means what can be the values for V1 and V2 that you will record from your experimental observation. Now if I say both the volumes are 0, V1 is 0 and V2 is 0, then it is of no interest for us because that will mean that there is no alkalinity in the water sample. V1 0, V2 0, it is of no interest to us. Now come say to condition number 1. You can get this. V1 is 0, but V2 is not equal to 0. If this is the case. Now if this is the case, firstly tell me what is going to be the experimental observation. V1 is 0, but V2 is not 0. V1 is equals to 0. What will that mean experimentally? What is going to be your observation? You will add phenolphthalein.
For phenolphthalein.
And what will happen? Then you will add phenolphthalein.
There will be no color change, ma'am, after reaction.
What will you see?
We see colorless, ma'am.
Colorless, yes. No pink color. You should say it like this. The water sample is colorless. You will add phenolphthalein, it will remain colorless. There will be no pink color. So that means even after adding phenolphthalein, if the water sample remains colorless, that will mean that V1 is equals to 0. You would simply note down V1 is 0 because no pink color was observed. At that point of time, you will add methyl orange, you will get a yellow color, you will add acid from the Biuret, and till the color changes to pinkish red, you go on adding acid and you note down the final reading as V2, the volume that you will see on the Biuret. And if V1 is 0, P is equals to 0. Are you satisfied? What is the relationship between P and V1 from the last slide?
Yes, ma'am. P is equal to 10 V1.
P is equals to 10 V1. So yes, if V1 is 0, that means P is equals to 0. Now let us see how we can conclude which type of alkalinity is present. For that, you need to recall the two equations that I showed on slide number 2 today. Yes. Can you see the two equations?
Not yet, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Now we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can see it now. So if P is equals to 0 in the first equation, what about these two terms, the concentration of hydroxide and carbonate? See, these are concentration terms, so they can be either 0 or they will be positive terms. They can never be negative. Concentrations can never be negative. So if they cannot be negative, what can you say? If P is 0, the sum of two quantities is 0. What about the two quantities?
They
Yeah.
are
0.
They are 0, yes. So that means hydroxide is absent, carbonate is absent. Which ion are you left with?
minus, ma'am. Bicarbonate.
Bicarbonate. So this is the case. Condition number 1 is the case of bicarbonate only, and bicarbonate concentration will be given by what? These two terms are 0. From the second equation, bicarbonate ions will be given by what?
M.
M. Yes. So just go back and see if P is 0 or V1 is 0, it is the case of bicarbonate only. Hydroxide will be nil, carbonate will be nil, and bicarbonate concentration will be given by M. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Now come to the second condition, the other aspect of it. When V2 is 0, but V1 is not equal to 0. Experimentally, what you will see, you will add phenolphthalein, you will get a pink color. You will add acid till that color changes to colorless. You will note down V1. But when you will add methyl orange at this point, what color will you see?
No color, ma'am. Colorless.
On adding methyl orange,
Yellow.
Reddish pink.
V2 is
You
0.
see yellow color, ma'am. Yellow color.
Yellow.
Reddish pink.
Straight away reddish pink. V2 is 0. You will not add any acid for achieving pinkish red color. That means no yellow color. Straight away what you will see? Red, pinkish red color. Straight away. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And if V2 is equals to 0, that will mean P is equals to M. Go back to the two equations. P was 10 V1 and M was 10 V1 plus V2. So won't P be equal to M? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
if P is equals to M, then tell me what will be M minus P. M minus P equal to
0, ma'am.
yes, M minus P will be 0. So from the two equations that you have learned in the principle, can you calculate M minus P?
Yes, ma'am.
So M minus P in the second condition you have said is 0. So if M minus P is 0, which type is it?
Only hydroxide.
Only hydroxide, because carbonate and bicarbonate will be 0.
0.
M minus P is 0, so carbonate, bicarbonate is 0, and hydroxide will be given by what?
M
On the
or
second.
P.
M or P, yes. So this is the case of hydroxide only, where carbonate and bicarbonate will be nil, and hydroxide ion concentration can be given by M or P because both of them are equal. Both of them are equal. So this is the second extreme condition you can come across. Then the third extreme condition can be when P is exactly equal to half M, or you can say V1 is equals to V2. That is the volume used up to phenolphthalein endpoint. Say it is 20 ml. So after that, to reach methyl orange endpoint, you will add another 20 ml. So V1, V2 are same. 20 ml is equal to 20 ml. So if same volume of acid is being consumed up to phenolphthalein endpoint and after phenolphthalein endpoint, this is going to be the case of which ion? Which ion is neutralized in 2 steps, consuming same amount of acid? This happens in the case of which ion? Carbonate. Yes, this I have told you many times now. So this is going to be the case of carbonate only. Directly you can think about it. This is going to be the case of carbonate only, where hydroxide ions will be absent, bicarbonate will be absent, and carbonate strength can be given by M directly, where M is equals to 2P from this equation. So you either calculate it by 2P or M, they will give you the same result. Clear? And after this, now we have discussed the 3 individual cases. So which types are we left with? Now we are only left with the combinations. The combinations of ions, dual combinations. And this I told you that carbonate is a common ion in both the dual combinations on the last term itself. So other than these 3 extreme conditions, when P is equals to 0, or when P is equals to M, or when P is equals to exactly half M, there can be 2 more conditions. When volume V1 is less than V2, or you can say P is less than half M, or V1 is greater than V2, that will mean P is greater than half. Now, how can we decide which combination will correspond to what? This I have tried to explain with a small trick. Is slide number 8 visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, just focus on the diagram first. This is the Biuret scale. It is starting from 0, and say the final point for the experiment, it is going to be the methyl orange endpoint. Yes? So say the final point for the experiment is capital M. Now, if it is starting from 0 ending at M, the middle point will lie exactly in the middle, and this has been denoted as half M. Clear? Now, one more thing. I told you to remember the sequence of the 3 ions as well. So I said initially it is the hydroxide ions which are neutralized, then it is the carbonate ions which are neutralized, and finally it is the bicarbonate ions. Yes? The sequence of the 3 reactions.
Yes.
First it is hydroxide, carbonate, and then bicarbonate. So I have written the sequence over here. This is how it is moving on the scale. Now on this scale, Biuret scale, starting from 0 and ending at M, P can lie anywhere on this scale. It can be equal to 0, it can be equal to half M, it can be equal to M. These three conditions we have discussed already. Now let us come to the remaining two conditions and let me take them one by one. Suppose P is lying over here. So here P is less than half M. Are you all agreeing? If P
Yes,
is
ma'am.
here, it
Yes,
is less than half M. It is less than half M. Now focus on this point. This point is dividing the scale into two parts. One part is 0 to P, which is the smaller length, and the other part is from P to M, which is the longer part. Are you all agreeing with this?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Now the trick that you have to remember is that the shorter length is always equal to half of the carbonate strength. Remember this and you will be able to fill all the entries of the last two conditions. Shorter length is always half carbonate. And why are we saying that? We are saying that because carbonate is present in both the combinations. Number one, we know that. And number two, we also know that carbonate is neutralized in two steps. Half neutralization up to the phenolphthalein endpoint and the remaining half neutralization after the phenolphthalein endpoint. So because of these 2 points, we can say that the shorter length is going to be equal to half of carbonate strength. So you have to remember this as a trick. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so if you are agreeing, what did I say? I was saying that this is the shorter length, 0 to P. So 0 to P is half carbonate volume of acid that will be neutralized, that will be used for the neutralization of half carbonate. Okay, and the remaining half will be used after P. So say the same length, it will be somewhere here, and you will be left with some volume after the carbonate neutralization is complete. This is longer, so some volume will lie end towards the end. So after carbonate, which ions are neutralized?
Bicarbonate.
Bicarbonate. So if it is P less than half M, this is the case of carbonate and bicarbonate alkaline. Have you followed? Shorter length 0 to P. This is the shorter part. This we said is half carbonate. This volume, if it is corresponding to half carbonate, same volume after P will be used for the remaining half. And after that also some volume is being used. So if volume is being used after carbonate, which ion is it which is using the acid?
Bicarbonate.
Bicarbonate. Yes. So this is the case of carbonate and bicarbonate alkalinity. And how can you work out the concentration of the two ions? See, from the same trick, carbonate strength will be given by what? Twice of shorter length? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the shorter length in magnitude starting from 0 ending at P?
It's P.
It's P. So shorter length is P. So carbonate will be given by 2P. And what about bicarbonate? Hydroxide ions are 0. So just subtract carbonate from total alkalinity. Total alkalinity is given by the sum of all the 3 ions. And total alkalinity is given by methyl orange endpoint. So simply subtract carbonate from total alkalinity. Total alkalinity is M. Carbonate is 2P from above. So bicarbonate will be given by M minus 2P. Is it clear?
Clear, ma'am.
So these were the entries actually that you saw on the table. Yes. When P is less than half m, this is the case of carbonate and bicarbonate. Hydroxide nil, carbonate 2p, bicarbonate m minus. And if you have understood the trick or the method, then it is very easy for you to work out the last condition as well. Suppose now P is lying over here. So that means P is greater than half m. Half m was here. If P is lying over here now, somewhere here, then P is greater than half m. Now this point P is dividing the whole scale into two parts again. The shorter length is from P to M. This is the shorter length, P to M. And the longer part is from 0 to P. 0 to P is the longer part. So the trick said shorter length is half carbonate. So this is half carbonate. Remaining half carbonate acid volume will correspond somewhere here. It will end up over here. And you are left with the volume of acid in the beginning, before carbonate. So before carbonate, which ion is neutralized?
Hydroxide.
Hydroxide. So this is the case of carbonate and hydroxide. Again come to the concentration of the two ions. Carbonate is twice of shorter length as we used above. So tell me, what is the magnitude of the shorter length starting from P and ending at M?
M minus P.
M minus P. Yes, so that is why we have written carbonate is equal to 2M minus P. And hydroxide, the other ion, will be calculated as above. Total minus carbonate, total is given by M. Carbonate is 2M minus P from above. So when you will solve, you will get it as 2P minus M. So is it clear to everyone?
Ma'am.
We can go back to the table and we can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
1 is ma'am.
And if it is clear, then now let us take up one problem. Can you see slide number 9?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I am sharing a question with you. Though you will be made to do the questions, practice problems in the tutorial class, but I'm sharing a problem just to give you an idea how you will solve the problem in the examination. Like how will you write it actually? Because many times, but their presentation is not appropriate and then they don't score full marks. So that is why I'm showing you a sample problem and how you will plot the result. Now from this problem, go through it and tell me what are the values of V1 and V2. V1 and V2.
Ma'am,
Madam,
V1,
V1 is 100 ml, madam.
V1 is 100 ml.
ma'am, V1 is 4.7 ml.
Yes, V1 is
4.7
4.7.
ma'am.
And V2 is 10.5 ml.
V2 is 10.5 because the word further has been mentioned over here. That means the extra volume. So you have to be particular about the language of the question. Sometimes this extra word is not there and they give you the total volume directly. So you have to be particular with the language of the question. Since here further term has been given, so it is V2, V2 10.5. So if you know the values of V1 and V2, Can you predict which type of alkalinity is it?
Ma'am, carbonate and bicarbonate.
By
Bicarbonate, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is hydroxide and bicarbonate.
whatever answer you are giving, you have to support it with a reason.
Yes, ma'am. V2 is greater than V1, so it will be hydroxide and carbonate.
V2 is greater than V1.
V1. Yes, ma'am.
V2 is greater. Go back to the table. V2 is greater than V1. And come to this figure now. 0 to P was V1 and P to M is V2. Yes. So which
Okay.
type is it? Yes, which type is it?
It is carbonate and bicarbonate.
Carbonate and bicarbonate, yes. So how will you display the result? First of all, you will identify V1 and V2. You will write the values. And then you will write, since V2 is greater than V1, that is why the type of alkalinity present in the water sample is due to carbonate and bicarbonate ions. When you will write it in this format, then only you can score full marks. If you write the answer directly, then you will be losing marks. Then after this, you will be applying the law of chemical equivalence for both phenolphthalein endpoint and methyl orange endpoint, and you will be calculating capital P and capital M, which I have shared with you already today. So are you following the procedure? And after you have calculated capital P and capital M, after that, you will calculate the individual concentration of the ions with the help of P and M values. And the unit is also very important. You need to report the result in correct units. If you do not write the units, then the numerical values have no meaning. The numerical values have no meaning. So I will be sharing this solution with you when I will upload the notes of the lecture. So I hope it is clear to everyone. Now, do you have any questions?